So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Arlington. So the pros are most of them are pretty similar to other places. Of course, the employment opportunities tied to defense, health industry, the Fortune 500 companies in the area, and also the higher than national average median income. Talk about education, which again, Arlington has really highly rated schools.
What is up, people? What is up, people? I think we have some good audio right now.
Sounds good.
It sounds good. It sounds good. Today we're going to do
Excellent.
something just a little different. We're going to put a little background music in. Let me just get
Let's
this together.
see.
How are you doing today, Crystal?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I can't complain. I can't complain at all.
Well, that's good news. That's good to hear. Well, so thank you for joining us this morning. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of different topics. Our main topic of today is going to be the pros and cons of living in Arlington. But before we get into that, we're going to chat a little bit about the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification for home loans. We're getting into that spring market, or we will be soon, which means that a lot of buyers will be out. So we want to just touch bases and make sure you know the difference between those two before we jump into our main topic, talking about Arlington today.
Excellent. I think the music is low enough because I don't want to blast it in everybody's ear. Perfect. I think we're good to go.
Excellent. While you're watching today, if you have any questions about relocating to the area, be sure to check out the Perfect Home Questionnaire. It's going to be linked in the comment section, also in the description. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. And one of us will reach out to you to have a Perfect Home consultation, or we can talk to you about your plans to relocate to the area and answer any questions you may have about either working with us or questions about Northern Virginia as a whole.
Excellent. Good morning, Amanda.
Hey, Amanda. How are you doing this morning?
How are you doing today from Dayton? Excellent. So let's jump into today's topic. We are moving into the spring selling market, right?
Mhm.
And right now it looks like inventory is still going to be relatively low, which means that sellers are going to have a lot of say in how properties are delivered or are
What type of offers they're going to accept, right?
Exactly. We just had an offer put in on a property, a condo that's been on the market since October, and we put in a relatively competitive offer on this property.
The comp supported the numbers,
and the seller countered our offer with a full price counter. With in addition to a full price counter, they also removed the full home inspection and decided to do a option to void home inspection,
which is really something we see more of in a very competitive market.
Yes.
Usually you see that more so when a property first comes on the market. There are multiple offers on a property that first weekend.
And what this type of home inspection is where you say up front that you're not going to request anything from the seller. You're going to do an inspection, but you're not going to request anything. Your only option is to void the contract or to move forward. So on this property that has been on the market for well over 60 days, they countered us and at full price, right? Their list price, and they removed the inspection. Well, they changed the inspection. They reduced the inspection time, and they increased the deposit. See, these people, right? These sellers right now have this mindset that they have the goods, and we're about to move into the spring market where sellers are going to continue this mindset.
The sellers will truly be in the driver's seat. Now, this seller thinks they're in the driver's seat, even though their property has been on the market for 60 days.
That's true.
Come 60 days from now, sellers may truly be in the driver's seat, where this seller believes they are at the moment.
Exactly. So we want to give you some pointers to make sure you put yourself in as much control as you possibly can, because our channel does skew more towards buyers either relocating to the area or even moving around the area. Maybe they have a house to sell, but they are checking out our channel to find out and explore other parts of the region, which is great. We're glad to have you here. So how do you position yourself to have the best offer when there's going to be multiple offers come this spring? The first thing you could do is make more money. I'm just playing. You can't really control the things you can't control, right? So you make the amount of money you make right now. You have the amount that you have saved at this time. You have some type of restriction as far as like when you can move in. So you don't have as much control over those parts of the transaction. What you do have control over is your financing, right? And so with your financing, a lot of people are using either online lenders or they're filling out a form online with a local lender. And that that document that you receive from the lender that says you're pre-approved isn't really a pre-approval letter. It's really a pre-qualification letter. And the reason why you want to make sure that you control what you give the lender on the front end is your ability to negotiate when it comes time for us to compete against other individuals. And so what do I mean? There are two different types of letters that most buyers are familiar with or have heard of. It's either a pre-qualification letter or a pre-approval letter. Most people walking around buying houses right now are using a pre-qualification letter. And what a pre-qualification letter is it's a letter from the lender that says that you can buy a property based on the information you verbally told them, right? It hasn't been verified. So for instance, we have a lender that we use. You've seen him on the channel with Moving Mortgage. He does some of our VHDA, our first-time home buyer videos, right? In the letter that he provides that says pre-approved, this is the verbiage that's in there. It says your mortgage loan application has not been reviewed by an underwriter, and this letter does not constitute a final mortgage loan approval. A loan officer has reviewed certain information provided by you and is using this pre-approval based upon this information. You see what they're saying there is that they don't even know if the stuff that you sent them is accurate. But this is a letter that says that you can buy a house. See, and this is a letter that all of the sellers are going to be receiving with every offer. So how do you position yourself to have a more favorable offer than everyone else? The way you do that is you actually go through the approval process, the pre-approval process. The pre-qualification process is really called desktop underwriting. That's where a program says the buyer, the prospective buyer said this. Okay, based on what they said and their credit history, we believe that they could buy a house. That's all it is, right? That's desktop underwriting. When you want to get a pre-approval letter, which is going to really position you ahead of most of the buyers that we see in the market right now, a pre-approval letter is where you actually provide the lender with the documents that they need to say whether or not you're going to get a loan or not. Now, this process is time consuming. You will not get an immediate answer, right, from the lender. If you do get an immediate answer, it's most likely a pre-qualification letter. This pre-approval process is probably going to take you anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks for them to complete, because it is manual underwriting. It's also you providing them with all of your documents, which you may not have in a nice, neat package.
This is like the approved to move thing that our other loan officer uses, where they go through the entire process up front.
That's right. That's correct.
So that essentially all you have to do is plug in a property within the budget.
Exactly. Now, what you're probably thinking to yourself is, Abraham, if this is a superior way to shop for houses, why hasn't my lender walked me through this process? Or why hasn't my lender even offered it to me? Well, lenders are paid per transaction that's closed, right? And so that means that a lot of people say that they're going to buy a house,
and a lot of people don't
buy a house, right? So the lender is really trying to protect themselves from anyone who's wasting time. So the desktop underwriting or the pre-qualification letter is the easiest way to get you into their system, to get you to start searching for houses. But when it comes time to make offers in the seller's market, which is coming up in the springtime, you need to be prepared to put the best offer.
That's true. And it allows you, when you move through that process, it allows you to remove some of those contingencies or make them shorter.
Yes.
If you are ready, like one of the things we love best is one of our lenders, they do this a pre-approved to move program, and they've already taken our buyers through the entire process where all they need is the appraisal.
Right.
So all they need to do is have the appraiser come in and they're good to go. And so we're able to remove those contingencies much sooner. So rather than, a 25 or 21 day, whatever financing period, we're able to say, hey, we can get this appraiser in, really quickly, and we'll be able to remove that finance contingency, if there even is a finance contingency, very quickly.
That's correct. Now, what documents will you need to provide? So in case you want to, in case you're working with us, and you'll see, like, once you start working with us, we'll start talking to you about the pre-approval process. We'll actually start talking to you about forcing the lender or the bank that you're using to pre-approve you up front, right? And this is what we're discussing, is moving you from pre-qualification to pre-approval to put you in the best, give you the best options possible to win the deal. Now, a couple documents they're going to ask for the pre-approval process is your bank statements, right? So they may ask for 2 months, they may ask for 6 months. Just start getting your bank statements together. They're going to ask for either 2 to 5 years of W-2s or your tax documents. They're also going to ask for some type of ability to verify your employment. So you can start working with your HR department right now for what documentation that the lenders may use. Your HR department has already gone through this process, and this will speed up not only your home sale process, but you'll also feel more comfortable and confident that you could actually buy a house. Believe it or not, if you get a pre-qualification letter, you really can't buy a house yet because the lender has not verified your documentation. Okay. So pre-approval, pre-qualification, there's actually one more facet or phase to this process that the lenders have a term for, which is called final mortgage loan approval. Right. So if you think about this in phases, we have pre-qualification. This is when you're at the beginning of the process. You're just thinking about buying a house. You just wanted to see, okay, great. I punched my little information into this little website. They gave me a pre-qualification letter. Then once you get a little bit more serious, then you get pre-approved, which is where they get all your documentation, like your tax documents, bank statements, your work history, stuff like that. Right. Well, the lender has a final stage, which is called final loan approval, final mortgage approval, where they take into consideration the appraisal, the title search, and make sure that you're still financially sound at the time it's time to purchase a property. So those are all the stages to the process. I want to make sure that if you're about to buy a house or you're planning to buy a house in the spring market, this coming market, right? Most likely, if you're watching these videos, you're making a decision to make a move probably in March, April timeframe, or maybe you're moving to the area, you're PCSing in June, July timeframe. Those are peak buying season, and you want to be ready.
Absolutely. So thank you for that, Abraham.
My pleasure, Crystal.
So we're going to move on to our main topic today, which is going to be the pros and cons of living in Arlington.
That's true. But before we start, let's clear out the comment section. So the way we do this is we have like a conversation about a topic. Today's topic is, like Crystal said, pros and cons of Arlington. And then between the different segments, we'll answer any questions that you have either about the segment, or maybe you already came here with your questions about the home buying process, home selling process. Just drop those comments down below. And if you are ready to make the move, right, you're ready to move to the next step of the process of either buying a home or selling a home, we have a link in the description to our perfect home questionnaire. Fill out that questionnaire, and then we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any questions that you may have. So let's get to this question here. EF Game.
Hello again.
National Learning. Are you excited about that?
National Landing. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that area today, since we're speaking about Arlington.
Oh yes. Yes, the name.
Yeah. So no one here calls it that yet. That's why it took a second. No one here calls it National Landing. It's still Arlington to us. Still Crystal City.
Right.
I don't know if that's going to catch on here. It hasn't yet, you know? I
think as we get more and more transients into the area, the name change.
You think so?
Because locals in general are usually resistant to name changes.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that there's really been a big push towards it, though, if we're being honest about it. I think that when it first came out, I think they got flack about it because people really felt away. And it really hasn't been mentioned much since that time. Very true. I don't know if they're going to continue pushing that forward, that name change forward, or we're just going to continue on with Crystal City, Potomac Yard.
I think
it'll be interesting.
I think that they're probably going to drop the name change because they did get a lot of heat for trying to rename an area. I think that they are right about trying to rename the area because it is really two different areas. Crystal City is in Arlington, and then like that northern tip of
Alexandria.
City of Alexandria are all kind of lumped together where Amazon is going to be located. So it kind of makes sense to try to rename that place, because if you're given directions or if you have in meetings, right, because Reagan National Airport is right down the street from there, if you said, okay, great, I'm going to National Landing, it'll be easier for everyone to understand where you're going versus saying, I'm going to Crystal City. Oh, you know what? No, I'm going to
Alexandria.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but then it also leads to confusion of where are you going? Are you going to be in Arlington or will you be in Alexandria? So I feel like if you say I'm going to Amazon Arlington or Amazon Crystal City versus Amazon Alexandria City, I think that might be clearer. I don't know. It remains to be seen. They're still in the building process. So we're excited about all the opportunities that's going to mean for people who live in the area. And that kind of ties in with our first pro, which is employment opportunities.
Excellent.
Our very first pro about living in Arlington is going to be the fact that there are just so many job options and opportunities. The Washington Post and Money Magazine actually ranked it as one of the top places in the nation for young professionals to relocate. And it's because of the employment opportunities within the DC consulting, defense, and the nonprofit scene. So we see a lot of young professionals choosing to live in Arlington versus living in DC. But then we also see a lot of more seasoned professionals as well choosing Arlington for various reasons, whether it be the school system, other things that we're going to talk about. So another thing about Arlington is that it has the highest median income of our places that we talk about in the Northern Virginia area. The median income is going to be over $124,000, which is, again, more than twice the national average, or twice the median income in the country. And so that is definitely one of the pros of moving to Arlington, is you're going to make significantly more money than you would elsewhere in the country.
Speaking of which, I was just speaking to somebody who reached out to us from our YouTube channel just last week, young gentleman who is 22 years old, and he's already making $120,000 in the tech industry. He chooses to live in Arlington, but his employer is located in DC. He has a relatively short commute. I mean, with walking from his condo or slash apartment in Arlington to the metro stop, and then walking from the metro stop to his job, is about a 45-minute all-around time, but that includes walking and everything. So he enjoys the Arlington area, Crystal City area, and so again, that's another example.
Yes, a perfect example. Again, the young professionals do tend to lean towards Arlington, which makes sense because as far as young people would be concerned, Arlington is much more it's like city light, right?
Yes, it is.
And again, that's something we're going to talk about a little bit more. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we move through the pros and cons or whatever. So in addition to, the other employment hubs we talked about, there's also, of course, National Landing, Amazon HQ2, which is heading here. We already have several people working in the area for Amazon, and that number is just going to continue to swell and balloon as they build that office development.
That's true.
And that area expands.
And also stay tuned for a video where we're going to just do like a walking tour of some of the Amazon developments in Crystal City. There's snow on the ground right now, so we're not going to do it right now because it's a little slippery, but stay tuned for that, where we'll just walk and kind of talk, just so we can kind of capture Amazon building process
as it's happening.
Yes, ma'am.
Another cool thing about Arlington is it has the lowest unemployment rate in the area. So the national average is going to be more than twice as high, actually. So the unemployment rate in Arlington is only 1.9%. And that's 2.3% lower than the national average. And so again, we talked about this throughout the week, is that when you work within Northern Virginia or the DC metro area, there's this job security, in that if you leave one industry, that you can find another job within that industry fairly easily, because this is a highly educated area. And matter of fact, Arlington is the most highly educated area in Northern Virginia. They have the most people with advanced degrees in Northern Virginia. And so those people have a sense of security and knowing that they can leave one company and go into another. There are over a dozen Fortune 500 companies in Northern Virginia alone, not including the ones that are in DC and also in parts of Maryland. So again, just lots of job opportunity. The income is higher than other places in the country. So that's just pro number one. You can't find a better pro than that.
Yep. Exactly. How you going to pay this? How you going to pay to stay here?
Yes, because we're going to cover that in a little bit too, because it's going to cost you to stay here. Let's see.
So the next thing is education. Crystal normally covers education, so I know that you don't want to cover too.
Oh, you're gonna cover education, sir?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not. Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
but before you go into education, let's just clear out the comment section.
Okay.
All right, here. Okay. EF Gaming says, sorry for the typo. I meant national. Oh, we understand. We
got it.
We accept all typos.
Yeah. So education. I've said it before. Arlington consistently has the top rated, if not number one, the number 2 rated school system in the state of Virginia. Yes. It's one of the top throughout the DC metro area. And so because of that, people like to live in the area. The highest schools there are, in particular, are well regarded. 2 of the highest schools are in the top 15 prep high schools for colleges. And so in addition to that, they also offer an array of different classes and programs. In addition to the high schools being highly rated, the elementary schools are also highly rated. The number 1 elementary school in the state of Virginia is located in Arlington, and that's going to be Arlington Traditional. So you're just looking at an area where education is highly valued, which is apparent by the number of people who have advanced degrees.
That's true.
Right. And so, of course, when you have the large number of people with PhDs, you expect those people to value education. And you see that throughout Arlington. The schools in North Arlington are a little bit more highly rated, and then the schools in South Arlington are also well received, but in those schools you're going to see a little bit more diversity, which is what we tend to expect in the lower price points.
What I like about Arlington education system, or the public school system in Arlington, is that the difference between, I would say, Fairfax County and Arlington is that in Fairfax County, your budget kind of limits the quality of the education you can receive in the school system. Arlington is so small that it's challenging for you to move into an area with a lower rated education or a school system. Right?
There are only 3 high schools.
Yes.
So it's a really small area.
So if you choose to move to Arlington over Fairfax County, right? Because we assume that you're probably not looking at City of Alexandria. If you're coming here with a family, then you're either comparing City of Alexandria,
Arlington and Fairfax County.
Arlington and Fairfax County. And since the Arlington budget, your median household income is higher. Your median household price, which we'll get to shortly, is higher. You're most likely covering or looking at northern Fairfax County, right? So either above 66 or the McLean, Tyson's Corner, Great Falls area and Falls Church to the Arlington area. Well, with Arlington, moving to Arlington, if you have littles that you're putting into the school system, it's hard not to have a great public school experience.
Absolutely. I think when it comes to comparing it to those areas in Fairfax County, they have the highest rated schools. So we're talking like the McLean and the Great Falls areas. I think that you're going to see very comparable results in Arlington.
Yes.
And then you're going to have those Arlington pros that are maybe not necessarily available in Great Falls and McLean, some of the other things that make Arlington what it is.
Yes, I agree. Excellent. So before we move on to our next point, let's clear up the comment section. The restaurant scene in DC is so dynamic, nothing like it in other parts of the country. I was in Charlotte for 1.5 years. I didn't like it because the cosmopolitan.
I know
about cosmopolitan. Okay,
restaurants.
Yes,
okay,
I agree. DC does have. This is our first time living in an area where there's actually a Michelin star restaurant in the area, just like around there. Because we were from New Orleans. New Orleans has great food,
fantastic food.
We just don't have international restaurants, right?
Yes.
So there's more diversity as far as the food scene. Also, you find those restaurant establishments that are similar to like the ones you can find on like the Food Network, where the individual was born in a cave.
Yes,
and they only cooked with rocks, and now they're bringing us their rock creation.
Yes, like there's definitely fancier places than what we're used to. Definitely.
The next topic we're going to cover is proximity. So let's just look at Arlington on a map here. So this is where Arlington is. If we could zoom out here, so Arlington is right next to the DC area, and to the west of it is going to be the Fairfax County part of Arlington, and then the Fairfax County part of the region. And then right below it to the south is going to be the city of Alexandria. What's cool about living in Arlington is that you're actually able to, in some parts, just walk across a bridge to the DC area,
Right?
Which is super cool. If you, especially like you live in like this Roslyn area right here, you could just walk across and go into the Georgetown area,
Which is like the best part of DC anyway.
in our opinion.
In my opinion.
Yes, in our opinion. What's another thing that's cool about the Arlington area is that the proximity to different major cities. So where that little red marker is where Arlington is. We've talked about this all week, and look at how many places are highlighted here in the region, right? So you have Baltimore, which is like
Right
an
down
hour
the
and a
street.
half away.
Just an hour from Arlington.
And then you have Philadelphia, which is right over here. Then you have New York, which is right over here. And to the south, we have Virginia Beach, which is a popular beach destination. Here we have Raleigh, North Carolina. But as you can see, if you move this map along the way, you just have the ability to go so many places. I didn't even know that Pittsburgh was this close. But you can go to Pittsburgh if you would like to. But yeah, so this is the great thing about living in the Arlington area, which is in Northern Virginia. There's also, if you're coming here with littles, we have a theme park right over here in the Maryland area, which is Six Flags. We also have another theme park down here closer to the Richmond area, which is going to be King's Dominion. And then we have, where is it at? Okay, and then we have over here around the Virginia Beach area, we're going to have Busch Gardens. So there are several different places you can get to just within driving distance, right? Now, because we can drive some of the places, that does lend us to have weekend traffic, but it's still a great, you just have quick access to so many things. And one more thing too, what's cool about living in the Northern Virginia area, specifically Arlington, over here to this darker green elevated area, this is going to be like the Shenandoah Mountains. Is it right over here? Yes. Okay. So we have the Shenandoah Mountains right over here. So you got about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to the Shenandoah Mountains, and then you can get into this little waterway here in the Maryland area where you can get to some beaches. Now, are they white sand beaches? No, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about beaches, though. If you're an amphibious person that loves to fish and do all kinds of other things, you can get to the beach, right?
Yeah.
So we have the beach and the mountains within 2-hour drive.
Can't beat it.
That's true. So that's our proximity section. What did you think about that? Did you like?
I like the way you pulled that together.
Excellent,
Thank you.
Excellent.
Good job.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, so before we move into our next topic, let's just clear out the comments right here. EF Gaming says, "Can you show me?"
I think he corrected himself in the next one. Look down.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you show me what Amazon is doing on the map where they are trying to locate themselves? Yeah, absolutely. We could do that. So let's see. All right, let's clear out this comment here. All right, so Amazon is going to be located in the southern part of Arlington. So we have the best way to notice where Amazon is going to be is really to look at Reagan National Airport, because essentially to this western part right here, this is where Amazon is going to be located. Specifically this kind of commercial hub right here, which is, what is that? That's going to be South Hayes Street. Is that?
Yeah, that's South Hayes.
South Hayes Street. So Amazon is going to be located right in about this area here, because this Aurora Highlands area, that's residential. So all of this is being developed right now. And like I said, we're going to have like a driving/walking tour of this area. So it's called Crystal City on the map. The reason why they were trying to name it National Landing is because they were lumping together Crystal City and like this Potomac Yard part of city of Alexandria. So this Potomac Yard area is also being developed. Virginia Tech has an institution that's going like $1 billion building that's going to be going into the Potomac Yard area. There's also another metro stop that's going to be going into the Potomac Yard area that I think is going to be up and running in 2022, late 2022 or late 2023. So that's why they were trying to rename it, because Crystal City isn't really a proper the correct name for all the development that's going to be going in this area. So that's it. So it's right here in the eastern part of the Arlington area.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Excellent. Well, since you brought up public transportation and the new metro line, that's what we're going to talk about next as our next pro. So Arlington has one of the best public transportation systems in Northern Virginia. So, of course, they have metro stops of several different lines. The primary line will be orange, but even the lines that go into Alexandria and other parts of Fairfax County run through Arlington when they're leaving DC. So that means that there are more stops in Arlington, are more lines that stop in Arlington. In addition to the metro system, they probably have the best bike system in Northern Virginia. Absolutely right. So in addition to all of the bike lanes that they also have like the Capital Bike Share where you can rent bikes, which again is not something you see in the other suburbs in Northern Virginia. So again, that proximity to the city really allows them to have more access to that. In addition to that, they have two different bus lines. So you have the Metro bus, but then you also have the ART bus, which is the county bus line. So again, best public transportation in the area, hands down. It lends itself to getting you through the area much more quickly than some of the other parts of Northern Virginia.
In addition to like just public transportation, I think that Arlington is the only place that I could say that a good portion of Arlington, you can live without a car.
It's walkable.
Yes,
it's the only part of Northern Virginia you can really say that. I mean, maybe you could say that about some parts of the city of Alexandria.
There are parts of city of Alexandria. If you live around the patent office, the Carlisle, there's the Whole Foods there. There's several restaurants and stuff. So you could. Yeah, but and also there's a metro stop right next to it.
Well, the thing about Arlington that makes it even better or more walkable is that you're never far from a bus stop, no matter what part of the city you're in.
That's true.
So even if you could be car free, even if you couldn't walk everywhere in Arlington, you could be car free throughout Arlington because of their robust public transportation system. And again, that's just not something you see. We talked about this in a video earlier about Fairfax County, and that we have bus stops, but they're not like the types of bus stops you see in cities where you see them every few blocks or something, and you can kind of get around without a car. In Arlington, you could get around without a car. Most people don't, but you could.
Yes, I think that Arlington does a good job of preparing itself to be more attractive to younger professionals, because if you're a younger professional, you're on a tighter budget, then you're trying to make a decision on whether or not it makes sense for you to get a car. And so like I mentioned earlier, the individual reached out to us that lives in Arlington, 22-year-old young man, already making $100,000+. He doesn't have a car. And so now he's about to buy a property. And so now he's like, man, I might have to get a car. I might have to get a car. And so that's the cool thing about Arlington, is that you could live that car-free life, which sounds amazing. I'm so looking forward to, I guess I will never do that.
He's looking forward to his empty nester stage, so he can get rid of his SUV and live somewhere walkable.
6 more years.
6 more years. All right. So next up, we have something that EF Gaming brought up earlier, which is going to be restaurants.
That's true.
There are so many restaurants and opportunities to dine out. Their nightlife, in addition to the restaurants in Arlington, make it a huge pro. Again, it's just going to be an area that is the closest thing we have to a city in Northern Virginia. And because of that, and you could argue that Old Town also has a lot, but again, it's more of a city feel and less a suburban feel in different parts of Arlington. Like if you're in that Clarendon, Boston area, it kind of has more of like a city-like feel to it. And we've discovered a lot of different restaurants throughout our time visiting Arlington. I think there's a healthy ecosystem of different types of international cuisine, but then there are also just like different places that are just full of different restaurants that we've had an opportunity to explore. There was a time we went to Boston and we went to the Quarter Market. That was that one where we went and they had like the food court, like the mall with the indoor food court. And it was not like a traditional mall food court. It's actually different restaurants that have set up there like a temporary home. And so they have, you know, you can eat in there. There's also outdoor seating. In addition to all those places that are kind of like fast casual, then you also have like the larger restaurants like True Foods, which is right outside of that area, Ted's Bulletin.
So you have the True Foods that you really liked?
The japchae is a sweet potato Korean noodle bowl.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
We've started making it at home.
I've had to start making it at home.
You didn't have to, but you did.
I did have to start making it because True Foods is too far from our house. Yes. It's too far from our house. But so incredible dining opportunities. We've talked a number of times about Smoke Craft, which is our favorite barbecue restaurant.
Exactly.
And
check it out.
You have to check it out.
We have a video on our channel with our review of the place. Go check it out.
We do. But then our second favorite barbecue place is also in Arlington, and that's Sloppy Mama's.
Yes.
Which is also fantastic.
They have a secret menu item, which is the cheeseburger. It's delicious. They take scraps of meat that they don't.
The scraps of beef from
that barbecuing, and they ground it up and make a delicious burger.
Yes.
So good.
So just lots of different types of cuisine. We discovered our very first time visiting Taco Bamba was in Arlington. We the Pizza, which is this incredible pizza place. I wish it was closer because we would definitely get delivery from there, but we just go there when we're in the area. It is an incredible pizza place by this guy who was on Spike. I can't think of his last name, but he was on like the first season of Top Chef. And he has a couple of different restaurants in the DC metro area. He has the Good Stuff Eatery, which is a burger spot.
If you ever get a chance to go to Good Stuff Eatery, you have to make space for the s'mores,
toasted marshmallow s'more milkshake.
You have to just make space. Just eat half the burger and then make sure you leave room for the or start with the milkshake. That's a better idea.
We will not be starting with milkshakes, at least not when we go with the kids. Exactly. So just all different types of food. There's Bayou Bakery, which we frequented so much when we first moved here. It's in like that courthouse area.
It is.
They have beignets.
They're not traditional. They're not going to be your Cafe du Monde beignets.
They're more like morning call beignets.
Yes. But they will get you through, right? They will fill you up
into your next trip to New Orleans.
Exactly.
Yes. And so speaking of breakfast, there's also Ruthie's All Day, which we tried at the end of last year, which was a new experience for us. There's just lots of opportunity, lots of different types of foods. It's just the best you can get without going into the city is the variety available with all the different restaurants in Arlington. And that's not even to mention all of the bars and other places. So again, restaurants top notch. You should definitely one of the pros of Arlington.
What's that place I like to get that sandwich from? That
I don't know the name of the place.
What's the sandwich I like to get?
It's some salmon.
Oh, it's salmon.
Salmon on the ciabatta. It's some you like that place. I don't know the name of it though.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay.
He expects me to be like his I'm like his Rolodex.
That's what the purpose of getting married is, right? Excellent. So before we go into our next topic, let's clear out these comments. Thank you. My pleasure. Pleasure. You're talking about showing them Amazon on the map. And I cannot agree with more. It's off the charts here. Yes. So you talk about the restaurant scene. Yes, it is. You're going to enjoy both what's cool. Another thing too that we have that I think that other places don't have is Arlington is like its own little place. Mm-hmm. Then we have City of Alexandria, which is its own little place. Then we have DC, which is again its own
bigger place,
right? So you have 3 different places that have their own restaurant scenes,
all different too,
that are super close together, right? Mm-hmm. So you will not be able to exhaust your desire to find new and interesting restaurants. And another thing that's really cool about living here, we're from New Orleans, so we say that regularly. New Orleans has great food.
Absolutely.
But New Orleans has great food in a specific category. Mm-hmm. This is an international place. Mm-hmm. So because it's an international place, there's great food from different areas, right?
Yes, from all over the world. Yes. And we get to experience different types of food that we had never even tried before moving here.
That's true.
Side note, I want to shout out one more type of restaurant. Here in Northern Virginia, you will have the best rotisserie chicken you've ever had in your life. Peruvian chicken. It's all over Northern Virginia. We had never had it before we moved
I
here.
didn't know it was a thing.
We didn't know it was a thing, but it is hands down, and everywhere has good Peruvian chicken. Like no matter where you are in Northern Virginia, you will find Peruvian chicken. It will be the very best. I'm not going to say stay away from the chains because some of the chains are okay too, but find like the little hole in the walls because they are the best.
Now, when we talk about rotisserie chicken, I know that if you've heard this term before, you're thinking about that pizza
That's stuff
chicken
at the supermarket.
at the supermarket, right?
That's not what this
sweated in that
is.
plastic case.
No.
Now, keep in mind that chicken that you buy at that store, right? Your local grocery store,
Costco, whatever.
it's only like $5-6.
Mm-hmm.
A whole chicken here is going to cost you like $16 to $25. Okay, so I don't want
Set the expectation. It's
Yeah.
a restaurant. It's not a grocery store.
Yes,
So
I just want to make sure that people aren't out there saying,
Okay.
the Walker said that I can get a $6 chicken at your establishment and they give you a leg.
No.
Okay,
But it will be the very best chicken, hands down, that you've ever had. Our favorite spot is Supollo. It's located in Alexandria, but there are lots of great Peruvian chicken spots.
exactly.
You have to try them. I think that should have been its own pro by itself. It's just Peruvian chicken.
Peruvian chicken is a big part of our diet.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, the next topic we want to cover as a pro to living in Arlington is that this is a health conscious place. You're going to see people running and walking all over the place, and you're going to think that their car broke down. No, they don't have a car. They're just either
Or they're just
exercising
walking for leisure. Yeah.
Arlington is always on the top list of the most healthiest places to live.
Yes.
And
It's one of the fittest. Well, it is been rated the fittest city in the country for like 6 years in a row.
There was even a survey done of Arlington residents where 86% of the residents said that they exercise. Where does that happen? Where does that happen?
In Arlington, the people are working out.
We've been living here since 2013.
Mhm.
And like I said, we're from New Orleans, which is usually a more obese market, right?
Yeah, well, we're from the South,
Yes,
so
we're
people
from the
tend to
South.
eat a little bit more.
Exactly. Well, when we moved here, we saw so many people running. It was
We
kind
thought
of
something was chasing them. We're like, where are all these people going?
now, in addition to this being a big military town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 20% of our transactions, our real estate transactions, are with individuals in the military.
Mhm.
So we do have a large number of military personnel here, and military personnel usually have to.
Yeah, they have their PT tests and
Yes.
everything, so we get that. But it's not just them.
It's not just
It's
them.
not just them. I don't know if they've rubbed off on everyone else. Like maybe the people saw the guys running down the trails and they're like,
And
you know what? I
it
should get some of that.
motivated them.
I don't know. Well, I mean, we walk, so I
Mhm.
don't know. But yeah, so one of the most health conscious, one of the fittest places in the country. And again, we have miles and miles of trails. In Arlington specifically, you're going to see a lot of bike paths. So you're going to see people constantly riding their bikes. We have the W and OD trail. So again, lots of people just outdoor activities are big here. And so that's a pro. Living in one of the fittest parts of the country.
I will say, I think that the thing that lends itself to Arlington being so fit is you do have a more educated residents, and usually education and fitness goes together. So it kind of makes sense that in the area where there is one of the highest concentrations of individuals with PhDs,
Mhm.
that those individuals be fit. Those people are.
When you know better, you do better.
Yes, exactly.
And they know better.
Exactly. So if you're looking to become more fit, Arlington is definitely a place that
There you go.
being
They'll
fit will
inspire
go on.
you.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Let's
So
see if we have any comments. No comments. So we can
All
go
right.
to our next point.
this is one that I have teetered back and forth about all week. And it is the weather here. We have all 4 seasons. And so I'm like, well, earlier this week, I did, is it a pro, is it a con when we did our Fairfax video. And then we had a snowstorm on Monday that left many of us without power some people without power for 2 days.
Yes.
And so then I promptly moved the weather to a con. And I'm back. We actually had snow again last night. Not nearly as much as earlier
About 2
in
to
the
4
week.
inches. Yeah.
But I think that we've landed back to say, is it a pro or a con? Because the weather here can be absolutely beautiful for like 60 to 70% of the year.
That's true.
We have spring here is just great. The weather is like cool, not too warm. And then we talk all the time when we talk about living in this area, we talk about autumn, and it's just breathtaking. We love it. It's beautiful. The colors, the weather is perfect. But then summer sucks because it's so hot. It's humid.
It's humid. In Arlington, you're going to get even more of the humidity because you're close right off of the Potomac.
Yeah. So the weather here in the summertime can be a bit of a beast. And then the winter, we don't get a lot of snowstorms. I have to say that it's only every few years. We've lived here for almost 10. This is only our third really heavy snow. But when it snows, everything shuts down. People here don't know how to drive in the snow because it's such a transient area. People like myself from the South, I don't know how to drive in the snow, so I don't. Or people from other countries, right? I don't drive in the snow at all, right? And so everything shuts down. The schools are closed. Schools have been closed since Monday, so kids had no school this week. They were set to go back on Monday from winter break, which means kids have been home for 3 weeks now.
That's true.
And this was the second time that's happened since we lived here. When our very first year here, the kids were off that very first week after winter break. So everything shuts down. Everyone either teleworks because no one can get anywhere because the roads can be shut down for, a few hours. The winter could just make it a bit of a hassle.
While it could make it a hassle, it does offer you a great opportunity to use that winter coat. You're going to need a winter coat here. Okay. Like right now, I think that it feels like it's 17 degrees outside.
17 degrees.
That's no longer sweater weather. Okay. That's no longer shorts. Put those shorts away. It's time, okay? And I know that you people from New York and further up north, you come down here with your sandals and walking around trying to make us feel bad.
Nope.
No, it's
not today. It's 17 degrees today.
It's not an us thing. It's you thing.
Here's the thing. I frequently say that the weather here is not that bad. Even in the wintertime, I've gotten to the place where, for the most part, I'll just wear a sweatshirt. I don't usually have to have a coat on. But every now and again, we get down to single digits. It hasn't happened in a couple of years, and I hope it doesn't happen this year.
Right.
We're down to 17 today. That's the lowest it's been this year. This year, 7 days into the year. But, it's the lowest it's been this season. I hope it doesn't get much lower than that. But just keep that in mind. Because one other thing I talked to you about this morning is frequently when we talk about the weather in the area, we talk about the snow when we mention winter. But we also have to talk about the temperature. And it does get pretty cold sometimes, usually not below 20 in the winter, but this year, today, this morning,
we're going to do it.
It feels like 17. The temperature outside is 27, but it feels like 17 is what my weather app said to me this morning.
But the cool thing is that you don't really have to go outside when it snows because your employer most likely is going to cancel work, and your kid won't have to go to school. Now, your kid not going to school may be a positive or a negative. I don't know. But you will. This area isn't designed to deal with the snow. And some of you may be thinking to yourself, you know what, Abraham, why are people so challenged by the snow? It really makes no sense for the local governments to invest in equipment to make it easier for us to move around in snow because it happens
so infrequently.
Yes.
Like I said, this is only our third big snow in the nearly 10 years that we lived here. So I understand it. And there's a pro in the snow in that the kids get to go sledding.
They do.
And that has become like a cool thing for them that they would not have otherwise experienced, not living here. So that's why I say, is the weather a pro or a con? I don't know.
Yeah, I like the variety. You can't really have appreciation without contrast, right? I say that all the time. And up in this area, you get to appreciate all of the seasons. Coming from the South, moving up here to the South-ish, right? This place gives you all of the season, which I think is the pro. I don't mind it. Just make sure you just have proper attire. Get yourself a real coat. Get yourself a scarf. Get yourself a solid set of gloves.
Get snow boots.
You will
because you will fall.
Yes, you
will.
I
speak from experience.
Yes. You'll need this, even though like I have snow boots. I rarely wear them, but when it does snow and the ground is icy, and you do need to go either to the grocery store or something like that, you're going to make a fool of yourself because you're not going to be able to walk. Okay. Excellent. So let's clear out the comment section. We have a few comments, and then we'll go to our next part of talking about Arlington. Haha, that is great for you guys. I would love to hear more in the future about comparisons of Nova versus New Orleans lifestyle, more restaurant list videos, and affordable areas to live that are walkable. We'll definitely add this to the list. Thank you, Adas. Is it? You think that's Adas or?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Usually I'm pretty good at that, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I know.
That's why you asked me?
Yes. Yeah. Let us know what you mean by affordable, though, because in this area, what's affordable to some people is, living in Prince William County, where the median household, the median price of a home
closer to $500,000.
But then if you come into Fairfax County, it's like 600, 700,000. Then if you go into Arlington, it's higher. So when you say affordable,
what does that mean to you?
What does that mean to you? And maybe your ideas on up and coming communities. Oh, we could definitely.
We do have some of those coming up soon, actually.
Yes. Actually, all of next week we're going to be doing top places to live inside of the Fairfax County, Prince William County, and Arlington. So tune in for that.
Yes.
But then we'll do another video about places we can see as like a potential for either investment purposes or that will have maybe like the best positive increase coming forward. So thank you for that video idea. Amanda H says, thank you so much for breaking it all down, especially the pre-approval process and how it can affect our buying power there. I also really love hearing your pros and cons list. Thank you so much,
Thank you, Amanda.
She's one of our regular viewers. EF Gaming says, don't forget about the Chinese Cherry Blossom Festival or the Japanese Cherry Blossom Festival. I don't know which one, but enjoy that.
Yes. So actually, the cherry blossoms are one of the things I want to talk about when we were talking about the proximity to DC, and that you have the opportunity to just check out the cherry blossoms on a tidal basin. Also, it's a pro when talking about the different seasons in the area.
Yes.
In that in the springtime, we do get to check out the beautiful cherry blossoms. They're actually in our intro video is the video of us walking on the tidal basin.
That's true.
In that 10-minute countdown before our live stream starts. We actually have part of that tour included there.
Yes.
But yes, we absolutely love the cherry blossoms. We try to check them out every couple years, not every year. Pro tip: go around 5:30 in the morning. You'll beat the crowds. That's when we went last year, and it was probably the best experience we've had at checking them out.
Also, the sunrise over the tidal basin with the Jefferson Memorial in the background.
I think we have a video on the channel of that whole tour, right? Yeah.
Check it out. Just look up Cherry Blossom, and it is so cool. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's breathtaking. So check that out as well. So getting into the cons to living in Arlington, the first one is going to be traffic, right? You can't get around it. You're so close to the DC area, and most people are moving through Arlington to get to their destination of choice, right? So either you have people coming from the northern part of Fairfax County, moving through Arlington to either get to the Pentagon or going to DC proper, or you have people coming in from the southern part of Fairfax County, moving in through Arlington to get into DC proper. There's going to be traffic. The cool thing is you're at the beginning of where you're at the end of where most people are trying to get to. So traffic isn't going to be as much of an issue for you. You're going to have like the shortest leg of the traffic going to the Pentagon, going to Washington, D.C., or even going to Tyson's Corner, which is a reverse commute. Right? Now, we don't see too many people living in Arlington going into like the Fort Belvoir area or even going into the Prince William County area. You most likely move into a different part of the region. But Tyson's Corner, Pentagon, Washington, D.C., or even like a city of Alexandria, Arlington has, I know this is supposed to be a con, but you just have amazing traffic. You have an amazing commute time, right? And that lends to one of the reasons why it costs so much money to live in Arlington.
Absolutely.
Did you have anything else you want to add about traffic?
I just wanted to add we do have that weekend traffic that he briefly alluded to. So going to all those places he mentioned earlier in our pros, talking about going to Baltimore, going to Washington, all those different places, that leads to weekend traffic.
Yes.
So traffic here is not just like a rush hour 9 to 5 thing. There's pretty consistent traffic. So just know that even on the weekend, you should plan accordingly. Luckily, Google Maps is pretty reliable in taking traffic into consideration. So just use a navigation system so you can make sure you time your trips well.
Yes, that's a good point. Okay, so the last con, or maybe the last reason why you would try to either stay away from Arlington, or you just have to get used to it, is it's expensive.
It is.
It is the most expensive place in the Northern Virginia region, but it makes
Overall, yeah.
but it makes sense when you think about where it's located, what amenities you have at your disposal,
Mhm.
your proximity to DC without being in DC. Because you got to be honest, a lot of people like to move to Arlington versus living in DC, even though they work in DC, because DC they don't have the best rated public school system.
Mhm.
They also have more crime compared to Arlington, right? So if you want to move to an area that you believe is safer, right, and you have littles, or
Mhm.
if you're going to be growing a family, you can't really beat the Arlington area.
You can't.
Right? But those prices are going to beat you up.
Those right. Yeah. So we rarely say anything is expensive. We try to stay away from those words like cheap and expensive, but you just can't get around it in Arlington, because even when we're talking about the median price over the last 12 months is $670, but that varies greatly depending on where you're looking. So in some zip codes, the median price is like 1.2 million.
Yeah.
So to give you an idea of how pricey Arlington can be, a 2-bedroom property in Arlington in 2020, the median price was $684,000. Right?
This is 2 bedrooms.
That was 2 bedrooms. Yeah. The median for a 3-bedroom townhouse was $859,000.
Right.
And then the median for a 4-bedroom single family was over 1.3. It was $1,362,000.
Yes. And if those prices don't alarm you, there is a link in the description to our perfect home questionnaire. We want to work with people like
we
you.
do
right?
absolutely want to work with
just
you.
like you. I know who you are. So click on that link in the perfect home questionnaire, and we'll schedule a time to meet via Zoom, and we can get you into one of these properties, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, the cost of living in Arlington is just going to be substantially more than other parts of Northern Virginia. And that's just the long and short of it. If you choose to live in Arlington, just be prepared to pay a premium to live there. Now, the cost of other things are going to be pretty close as far as like healthcare and utilities. Those are going to be pretty close to the national average. But then you look at things like transportation and groceries, and both of those, according to bestplaces.net, are going to be 15% higher than the national average. So you're talking about not only the cost of the home being more, but also public transportation and groceries. So it's just more expensive to live in Arlington than it is to live anywhere else. Overall, the cost of living in Arlington is 68.7% higher than the national average.
Which makes sense, though. You have people with PhDs, you have people with great jobs.
I understand.
Also, it costs more to get gas in Arlington. Like everything.
Yes, we do not get gas in Arlington. It's just like, no, we'll get gas in Fairfax County. But yeah, everything costs a little bit more there. So just be prepared. Again, that's why it's on the cons list, because it is pricier. But obviously people can afford to live there. So if you can, kudos.
One thing you should do, though, before you may hear this con and think, you know what, I'll start looking at Fairfax County, City of Alexandria, or somewhere else. If you have a shorter commute, your quality of life is going to be better, right? And that quality of life, I don't know how to put a price on an improved quality of life. Maybe it just makes more sense to pay more for your groceries. Maybe it makes more sense to pay more for your gas, because if you have a 15, 20, 30-minute commute,
you're saving on gas anyway because you're not using as much.
Exactly. Also, you're in a place where most people visit. People in Fairfax County go to Arlington for our date nights, for different events, different things to do. You live in a place where people are visiting, so you're more likely to enjoy those amenities, right? So yes, it is more expensive to live in Arlington, but you do get a premium experience in the Northern Virginia area.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Great job with that, Chris. So let's answer some of these questions. Zoka's back. What's up, Zoka?
Hey there.
How you doing?
Welcome back.
See you. iVideo says, hi, I'm thinking of starting my career in Arlington as a young professional. Oh, we just talked about a young professional that reached out to us just last week in the Arlington area. So you are moving to a great spot for that. Let's see. I visited a friend who works there, and I liked what I saw. But as someone from the Richmond area, I was a little intimidated by the affluence and the emphasis on image. Okay, he had a little bit more. Dressing well and expensively, something I'm not used to in Richmond. I was wondering if you had any tips on how to deal with that. Definitely felt out of place. I think that the easiest way to deal with that is to improve your wardrobe, right? Because you got to think that you're moving to an area where people make more money. People, not only do they make more money, they're accustomed to making more money, and their basic needs are already met. If you move into an area like that, then people are just going to start to improve other areas of their life, like their clothing. The good news is that you're moving to a region where there are several shops that could help you with the improving your wardrobe part of your phase. And it's really not that expensive to improve your wardrobe, right? It's really just a few pieces that you'll need to add to your wardrobe. They don't necessarily have to be expensive, but they can be simple pieces that can make you feel a little bit more comfortable in the area. But I don't think you're going to be able to get around the idea that you're moving to one of the most expensive places in America. Expensive places, people look a certain way, right? Yes. Like Arlington is healthier, so that means that you're going to be living
around fit people,
more
smaller
fit people. Yes, and those fit smaller people are just going to be wearing nicer clothing. The good news is there's Pentagon City or
Pentagon Mall.
Right by the Pentagon, of course. Obviously. And then there's also in Washington, D.C., there's several clothing stores that could help you with that process relatively more affordable, right?
Also, when you're in a more high cost of living area, thrifting is better in higher cost of living areas. So if you're into secondhand shops, then you could definitely take a look at those. You're going to have thrift stores that are going to have name brand and more expensive items. So if that's something that you're interested in, we do have a wealth of secondhand stores here in Northern Virginia as well.
Yes. Excellent. Okay, EF Gaming says the traffic can be bad, but to be honest, it's better than living in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
To be honest. I got it, but I want to be clear though. I don't think that you can really compare Charlotte to the DC area. We just have more going for us, right? Charlotte itself is a destination, but we have more history. We have better job opportunities. Also, the area itself is larger. I believe Fairfax County is like the size of Charlotte. So that's before you even,
it is, yeah.
That's before you even talk about the city of Alexandria, city of
Falls Church,
Fairfax. You have Fairfax, you have Loudoun, you have Prince William County, you have all the other places, and then you have DC. We haven't even talked about DC, which is the reason why most of the stuff is here.
Yeah.
So yes, traffic is better, and also you have an opportunity to live closer to work in this region, right? So if you're living if you're working at Tyson's Corner, you can go either east, west, or south, and also to the north, but just briefly to live somewhere, right? Whereas in other areas, you don't really have that because you have to be concerned about the school system, which we have a larger region where the school system's okay.
Or rated well,
yeah. Is it worth buying an older high-rise condo in Arlington or just get a townhouse elsewhere in Fairfax County? This is a great question, but it has some nuances. High-rise condos in Arlington, if you work in the Arlington area, it may provide you with a better quality of life. But as far as an investment is going to be concerned, townhouses outperform condos all the time, right? So you're never going to be able to say, I made a similar amount of money on a condo versus a townhouse, because Northern Virginia, the whole region, we're not really a condo-centric area. Like we're not, most people are moving into a condo very briefly. They're not really living a lot.
Yeah, people move in condos for a few years before they move up, for the most part, not everyone, before they move up into a townhouse, whether their family unit grows or they just want more space, what have you. So most people don't stay in a condo for long.
Exactly. And if you think about this, so the numbers that Crystal shared was a 2-bedroom property is around $684,000, right? So that's like a condo. And then you have a 3-bedroom townhouse is $858,000. Well, when you take into consideration the fact that you're probably paying a $500 to $800 condo fee, that's like $100,000 in buying power right there. So does it make more sense just to go into a $750,000, $800,000 townhouse for the same price as your condo fee and your condo? I think so, because you're going to get a better return on investment over the long run over a condo. But a condo's, there's a pros to living in a condo in that you don't have as much maintenance, right? You don't have as much to be concerned about. You have your amenities are closer to you.
Exactly. For a lot of Arlington, when you have a condo, a lot of them, like, they have supermarkets on the bottom level or within walking distance. So you're going to have amenities that you don't have, because when we're looking at townhomes, you're looking more in the suburbs, which means that it's going to be less walkable. There will be creature comforts, but you're always going to have to drive to them. So yeah, it depends on what's important to you.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Do the Arlington condo monthly fees go down? Never.
I've never seen a condo fee go down. It could happen, but I've never seen it.
Actually, it shouldn't happen. And the reason why your condo fees shouldn't happen, and you should actually be afraid to move into a condo where they haven't increased the fees over a certain period of time. There's a couple things that are going on that should cause for concern. First of all, inflation reduces the amount of money,
the power of the dollar,
your
right?
Buying power, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your condo fees stay flat, but inflation is constantly increasing, then you won't be able to purchase the same amount of stuff that you purchased this year, next year. Mm-hmm. So the condo fees have to increase because of inflation. Another reason why condo fees have to increase is because this is a property, and you are a small percentage owner in this property. It would benefit you to have higher reserves so that when it's time to replace a roof, to handle any structural issues, to handle any lawsuits, you have the money in the bank. You do not want a special assessment.
You do not want a special assessment.
You don't. And that's what happens. Usually a condo, we see it on a regular basis, a condo that has low condo fees has routine special assessments because they are not capable of managing their money because they chose to have low condo fees. That's just really artificially reducing your price over time, right? So either you're going to pay a small chunk over time or you have a big bill later.
And also special assessments can make it difficult to sell your property. So you're living in this condo for 2 years, 3 years, and then in year 4, there's a special assessment. You now want to sell the property. Well, now you have to advertise it saying, well, hey, in addition to this $500 a month condo fee, we also have a $200 a month special assessment for the next 18 months. And that's going to make it more difficult for you to find a buyer unless you're in an extreme seller's market.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Good point. Excellent. Ivy says, thank you so much. He's talking about giving them ideas about upgrading your wardrobe or just making sure being comfortable fitting in into this high cost of living area. And then EF Gaming says, my dad says Tyson's Corner can drain you. To be honest with you, this whole area can drain you. People, you got to keep in mind, you make more money here. Mm-hmm. You're not making more money for fun. Like they're going to get their money out of you, right? And so if you're moving from an area where you go from $60,000 to here, $150,000, you know, they're going to get their money out of you, and it's going to be a drain on you. That's why, in my opinion, factor in your commute, your quality of life, what amenities are there once you get home is so important. So you have a good opportunity, an increased likelihood of being able to rejuvenate between your working sessions, right? If you have a 1.5 hour long one-way commute, that's 3 hours out of your day.
We were just talking about that yesterday.
Yes.
You're talking about going into work at 7:30 and getting home at 7:30. Once you factor in the 9 hours you're at the office.
Yes.
That is a full 12 hours. That is half the day that you spend away from home.
And it can drain on you. That's why we are more quality of life real estate agents, right? We want to make sure that your overall picture, right, your overall health here is in good standing, right? And so even when you meet with us, when we do like our buyer consultation with you, we'll talk about like, what do you like to do for fun? What do you want to do for fun? Are you interested in meeting people? Are you like, where do you go to church? Where is that church? Like, we're trying to get you in a great location so that you can rejuvenate, so that when you have these mentally draining jobs, right? You come home and you can rejuvenate, right? Hopefully that helps. All right, Zoka says, coming from Atlanta, we have a pretty large Black community. Where do most of us live in Nova or even DC and Maryland?
So the largest percentage of African Americans in Fairfax County is going to be in like the southern part of Fairfax County. The 22315 zip code, I think, is the most diverse.
Yes.
In as far as racial makeup, and that's actually the zip code we live in. That's in Kingstowne. That's the most diverse. For the most part, you're going to see the most diversity in Fairfax County and in Arlington when you're in the southern part of those two counties.
Yeah, so the least affordable areas are going to be the more diverse areas.
The least affordable are going to be the least diverse.
The least, oh yes.
The least affordable are the least diverse.
Yes, exactly.
And then of course we don't work in DC or Maryland, but DC is more diverse, and Maryland.
Well, no, DC is not as diverse. DC is going through a big
gentrification. Yeah, that's
process.
true.
So I would say that Maryland has the highest population of African Americans in this region.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge you just have to deal with, and it just comes, it's a pro or con, right? In Maryland, you'll just have to deal with the fact that their schools are not as highly rated
in the part of Maryland that is that you see most African Americans. So
yes.
the most you'll probably see the most African Americans in Prince George County.
Prince George County,
and Prince George's County is really popular within that demographic, but they have probably the worst rated public schools in the entire region.
They have lower rated public schools, and so that's just
and that only matters if you have. Well, right. It doesn't only matter if you have kids, because also that affects your resale value. But so that's really where but that is the area that you see a large percentage of African Americans.
We know people that live in African Americans that live in the Prince George County area. They love it there. You get a much larger house. How dare you?
My phone was on Do Not Disturb.
I'm just playing.
You
do get
this video's gone long. That's why. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm just saying. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So that's what you have to deal with with the I guess the more diversity, the more challenging it becomes to find a higher rated public school system or public rated school area, and so that's just what we see just around the board. Right. Excellent. Well, I thought this was a good video.
You think so?
We did start a little late. Pardon us.
We had some technical difficulties this morning.
But we are getting it all together. How do you like this new format? We're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday live streams where on Mondays we cover Fairfax County, on Wednesdays we cover Prince William County, and on Fridays we cover Arlington County. And just to give you an idea, the reason why we switched to this method is we get a lot of people reaching out to us. They either have questions about the area, but they're not really ready to go into a full-on buyer consultation or a full-on conversation about moving to the area. And they really want to know about a specific part of the county, right? Or a specific part of the Northern Virginia area. And this is the Where to Live in Northern Virginia channel. So we want to give you an opportunity to get a peek into the different regions on a more consistent basis. We used to do more produced pieces that were more scripted and more editing, but those pieces take a long time to come out. Whereas we find that most people really just want us to have like a conversation about the area and then answer their questions whenever they have them. So now that we're doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shows, you could just come on for the show that deals with the area that you're looking in, ask your question. Also, it'll be a great opportunity for you to meet other individuals who are also having maybe similar questions. So maybe they'll answer the question that you may have had. We'll answer that question live, and you get I feel like you get a better experience, because we're not going to be able to work with all of you, right? Like we know that a lot of people use our channel to make their decision, and while we want to work with as many people, we're just constrained by time. So this gives us the best opportunity to reach as many of you as possible and to give you an opportunity to answer your questions in a larger audience setting. In addition to that, when I am doing my consultations or buyer consultations with individuals via Zoom, a great question will come up that really would benefit
from a video.
Yes, from a video. And it would also benefit more people if it wasn't just like a one-to-one question. So that's why at the beginning of the show, we usually do a buyer topic. And that buyer topic is something that either happened during a buyer consultation, happened while we were helping a client, and now we're bringing that to you as well. So
yeah. Now, if you do want to chat with us privately, whether you're relocating to the area or you have a question that you didn't have answered during this video, please be sure to fill out the Perfect Home questionnaire. That's going to be linked in the description and in the comments. Fill that out. It'll take you to our website. You'll complete a form with a few simple questions, and we'll reach out to you to schedule your Perfect Home consultation.
Yes. And I want to be clear, though. I want to be clear. We do these series to generate leads, right? Our individuals who are going to be using our services, and then those individuals, then that the income that we make from that then motivates us to continue this series.
Yes.
If this series isn't profitable, then we'll just do. Don't hit my
the other type of video.
They should know. They're our audience. You're our audience, so you should know how this works. We're doing the research, right?
So you don't have
a lot of time on our hand, right? This is an hour and a half long session. So this is a business, right? We run a business. Our business is helping people buy and sell homes. If this doesn't become profitable, then we have to go into another direction. We do enjoy these conversations. I enjoy spending time with my wife, right? My business partner, having this conversation with you all. I enjoy answering your questions. I love answering questions.
He loves answering questions.
I love being helpful, but if this isn't profitable, then we can't continue to do it. So I want to be clear, because I do know some people have watched our channel but use another agent. If that happens too much, then we've been in business for 13 years. So we would just do
the other type of business.
And as you know, right, because I want to be frank with you all, there isn't another channel in our area that does what we do. Right? There isn't another channel that produces as much content as we do. There isn't another channel that does live streams where we answer your questions live. So I just want to be clear, right? This is our audience. You and I, we're growing together, right? As we make more money, right? We'll be able to have better experiences. We'll be able to bring on better staff. We'll be able to do better stories, do more research, right? It's all
tied together.
It's all tied together. So your growth and my growth, we're in a symbiotic relationship, right? And so I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed this. This is our second week doing this.
This is our second week, and I absolutely enjoy it. This is a new format, as you said. We used to do more scripted, more polished pieces. So this is completely foreign to me, especially.
Yes.
Because I only recently started joining Abraham in the videos towards the last quarter of 2021. But this has been a great experience for us. We really do enjoy doing it in this format with the different videos. And I hope you guys will join us next week when we're going to be covering for each different area. So we're going to do the 5 neighborhoods to check out in Fairfax County on Monday, 5 neighborhoods in Prince William on Wednesday, and 5 neighborhoods to check out in Arlington on next Friday.
That's true. So that'll be a great series. And then after that, our series that we're doing after that is actually going to be for our military clients, our prospective military clients, where we're going to talk about PCSing
to different bases in the area.
So we'll cover the Fort Belvoir first, then we'll do Pentagon.
And then we're thinking we're going to do Quantico last, but we haven't made a definitive decision yet.
What do you think? Do you think Quantico, PCS of Quantico, would that be good content for this? Because Quantico is so far south that you start to get into the gray area of whether or not it's really Northern Virginia.
Well, so my thinking when I suggested Quantico, my thinking was that we do a fair amount of business in Prince William County, and so maybe people who are going there may be interested in like that Dumfries Woodbridge area. That was my thinking, which again I haven't made a decision because we may end up doing maybe the Navy Yard or something else, even though there may be DC or Maryland, because a lot of those people still choose to live in Virginia. So we're going to decide between now and next week if we're going to go with Quantico or if we're going to go with Andrews or the Naval Yard. Because we've had neighbors who worked at the Naval Yard who lived here in Kingstowne. So we're going to make a decision between now and next Friday of what direction I want to go in with that research. I have to make that decision this weekend so I can get that research done, though.
Yes, we can start the research process. Excellent. Well, good. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions.
We had a few more comments, though.
Do we?
We did. Zoka said thank you.
Thank you all. Oh, our pleasure, Zoka. Adis says it was nice, helpful to interact with both of you. Our pleasure as well. And then we have a bot. Thank you so much, iRobot.
Thank you, bot. You came late today, but we appreciate you showing up.
We hope that the ones and zeros at your house are doing well.
All right. Well, that was it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate all the comments and questions that really make these videos so much easier when we get to interact with you guys. It just helps the videos flow along better. So I really do appreciate your participation. If you're in Northern Virginia, stay warm because it's pretty cold today.
Yes.
And we will see you guys next week.
Excellent. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.